We are Madeline Wood and Brendan Mitchell, and today we're going to be looking at the digital artefact by RubyJBrown called digital storytelling.
One of the negatives of the Glogster digital storytelling page is the misuse of screen space and the inability to see the actual content without scrolling down or shrinking the page. With the actual narrative page, the page itself could be referred to as being too busy, with too many things going on. Also, the primary instruction on the page, after you have completed each activity you must return to this Glogster page to continue on with your work, is at the very bottom of the page and isn't visible without scrolling down. The tasks on the page, numbered 1 through 5, are shown in a confusing manner, with task 1 being at the bottom of the page, 3 versions of task 3 at the top, and tasks 2, 4 and 5 in the middle portion. Placing the tasks in the order they've been placed in will be very confusing for some students.
Students' learning is connected and applied to the real world through online publishing and the potentially large online audience to provide instant feedback through the Glogster community. On top of this, students have the ability to immediately share their finalised product on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest and StumbleUpon. This also encourages students to consider strategies for dealing with negative feedback and for students to consider that once something is placed online, it is then public and can be seen by everybody. By tasking students with creating their own ebook, students are encouraged to follow the conventions of picture book texts, which will in turn encourage students to use literacy skills, such as spelling and grammar, in constructing the story. This builds real-world connections, as students will be required to use correct linguistic conventions as members of the adult workforce. The task builds real-world connections as students are encouraged to make their own decisions regarding content and design, and to be relatively autonomous in the completion of the task, and the ability to work autonomously is often seen in employment advertisements.
The primary curriculum connection for this activity comes from the English syllabus, with outcome EN3-2A requiring students to compose, edit and present well-structured and coherent texts, experimenting and using aspects of composition that enhance learning and enjoyment. The use of Storybird fits this requirement as it allows students to create texts after going through a planning and drafting phase in a creative and unusual manner that is not normally explored in a classroom environment. It also frees students from the burden of needing to complete their own illustrations, a task which potentially engenders low self-efficacy while still requiring them to complete some design elements for their text. The nature and variety of Storybird illustrations also encourages students to be imaginative in their text creation and to develop complex ideas. Additionally, the task has the potential to link with the HSIE and Science and Technology Stage 3 syllabus documents, depending on the theme or topic that the students are asked to focus on.
The authentic task we want to take on into our second assignment is giving the students the opportunity to create their own original online text. Reeves, Harrington and Oliver give 10 characteristics of an authentic task, including real-world relevance, open-ended tasks, and creating a finished product. Characteristic 7 states that authentic activities can be integrated and applied across different subject areas. An example of this in the task is that it encourages KLA integration with connections to the HSIE and Science and Technology syllabuses. The nature of an authentic task also allows for student direction, choice, and gives them the opportunity to work at their own pace. This means the task is suitable for students of varying levels of ability, allowing for differentiation and inclusion within the class. Inclusivity is an element in the quality teaching model and is something that should be continuously worked on. ICT has been shown to be helpful in increasing inclusion and differentiation if chosen carefully and with thought to how accessible the resource is to each student. The use of Storybird allows for students to work at their own level and is a good example of how ICT resources can be inclusive to all students.